another episode of Roadside Assistance, where we help you navigate through any of the issues you might be having in your chapter. My name is Derek Stoughton. I'm a member of the Curriculum Development Committee, and I'm here with these two wonderful people who are going to answer a couple questions for us. So I've been going through the Road to Wisdom recently. It's a fantastic document, something I'm very excited about. But to me, it seems like the lessons in this are flexible and can possibly not necessarily be done in the order that are presented. Is this accurate, or am I allowed to be flexible if I'm teaching this to my membership candidates as a VPM?
Well, you're right, but I will go even a step further. It's not just the lessons themselves that are flexible. If you think about this, if we take up the spiral bound and this was just a 3-hole punch, every single page is movable. So you can teach the lessons in the order that makes sense to you, with the exception of teaching 1 at the first and 8 at the end. And there's a lot of flexibility in between. So if you like the order 6, 4, 3, 5, 2, and then 8, awesome, spectacular. Who teaches 7? I just realized.
I was going to say, you know, I guess 7's not important, but it
is in fact actually important.
How about that?
I think when you're thinking about this process, it's funny that 7 was our fraternity matters, and it does in fact matter.
That's great.
But when you're thinking about this process, the important thing is, what does my class today need, and what is the way that I can teach this most effectively? So if you say, I would really like to have our chapter president come in and talk about this section, or I would really like to have our sponsor come in this section. And you know what? He can come on Tuesday and not Thursday. So we're going to teach this lesson first. Awesome. If you say, you know what, I really want to start with a recap of the previous lesson, because I think it was really helpful and we had a really good discussion, and then we're going to build into this new lesson. And I was going to do 4, but I think I'm going to do 3, a little bit of 3, and then work into 4. You can do that too. The important thing is that you're really trying to think of, what is this class today, and what do we have that can make this successful? And so if you're looking at the questions that you have, there's flexibility there. If you're looking at the different forms of assessment that you have, there's flexibility there. But you have to then think forward. You can't do that on the fly. Everyone who's ever tried to teach a class and they don't plan for it,
right,
you know exactly what happens about 30 minutes in that class. Disaster.
Right.
Because you have not planned for it. And it's funny, we as a fraternity are dedicated around the idea that you should be planning forward. That part of being a brother is focusing in on what are we trying to accomplish and actually doing the homework to make sure you accomplish it at a high level. And so if that's what you're trying to do, membership education should be no different.
Well, and the thing of it is so if you were to go online and download, because it's on the website, The Road to Wisdom, or if you have your book, if you look at the beginning of the lesson, there's this summary of the lesson's information. That's what we care about. We care about that summary of the lesson information, and then if you were to turn the page, the first thing says learning intentions. So if you are covering the content and you are meeting the learning intentions, then everything else in here is flexible. There's fill in the blank. If you don't like fill in the blank, then fill in the blank for them. So you don't have to have candidates do fill in the blank. Guiding questions are built in throughout the lessons. One, because as somebody that works with educators, it's very difficult to teach questioning skills. So we provide that support to you. But if you don't have to ask every question. And if you don't like any of these questions, you don't have to ask any of them. Choose the ones that you like or you think are going to stimulate the best discussion for the candidates that you have. The membership candidate responses that are in here. If you don't like this membership candidate response, then don't use it. Or use it in a different way. You can assign it for homework, you can give it and have the class do one together, you can have them do it with their big brother, or you can not do it at all. And maybe there's 3 membership candidate responses in this lesson and you only do 1. All of that is completely flexible. If even the order itself of the lesson, if you think part 2 chapter history needs to come before part 1, then just reverse it. So all of those pieces are completely flexible for you as the educator to do what you think is best for the people that you have with you, however they learn best. Maybe you do want to do the PowerPoint, so you go into Edmodo and we have PowerPoints created, and you take that PowerPoint, but you're going to edit it and you're going to put your school's logo or do it in your school colors or add some more information. All of that is fine. You can add a little bit more detail somewhere. Or you think that this piece from lesson 1, you want to go back and put that in there. Maybe it's something with a purpose and you want to connect another purpose to it. You can do all of that. Everything is flexible.
Absolutely. And then as you're thinking about this too, the important thing is that sometimes you're flexible even within, well, we taught lesson 2 this way, but now that I'm hearing you all talk, when we get to lesson 4, we're going to teach it a little differently. So I'm a natural introvert, and so group discussion is not my favorite thing to do. This should not be an example of this. We're in a quiet room, and that, there's not people like watching us, so it's not as scary. But for me, this is a lot. And so you might sit there in that class and say, I want to make sure that this person is getting a quality experience as well. So I'm going to teach this a little differently. We're not going to do the guiding questions on this one because maybe they're a little too personal. We're going to do that more in a flexible setting, or maybe we're just going to ask one-on-one. You need to be thinking about what do I need them to learn, but what is the best way for them to do so? And don't feel like you have to have all the answers. The whole reason that we have Edmodo, the whole reason that we have curriculum at kkpsi.org, the whole reason that we have curriculum advisors who are there for you is because you do not need to be the expert. There is no one in this building, no one on this video, no one that is an expert in their area. We certainly are subject matter, we try to do the best that we can. We certainly try to dig it as deeply as possible, but we don't know everything, and that's why we work as a group too.
And so just a little visual, if you look at this table of contents here, that orientation meeting, that has to stay where it is. That goes over your risk management policies, it goes over all the fees that candidates would be required to pay. Just this meeting is crucial. One, it happens before first degree, and so you're letting those potential candidates know everything they need to know about the overview of this process. One, so they know what they're getting into, but two, if they think that they don't have the time right now or it's not for them, then they have the ability to say, you know what, maybe not this semester because I have 19 credits and I can't do it, but I definitely want to, but I think I need to wait till next semester. Gives them the opportunity to step away if they want to. But also it goes over our risk management policies, and then they're going to sign that risk management acknowledgement, which is crucial because that's saying, yes, we have gone over the policies, yes, we acknowledge that we understand what they say. Everything else you can move around with the exception of that last lesson, lesson 8, a lifetime commitment, because that lesson is kind of a culmination summary of learning. There's lots of team building activities in there. There's 2 different culminating activities that the class does together, and they can choose which one that they do. And so this is kind of a summation of learning of the whole process. But everything else, as Marco mentioned, can be moved around and tailored to your chapter and your chapter's needs.
And even with that, that lesson 8, you might teach the class this year this way and do these activities, but then when you do your spring class or when you do your class next year, the next week, they may do a different activity. They may choose a different order because they have a different class that different needs. They may focus on other things differently. They may bring in other speakers. They may do a million other things because you're supposed to. Because you're trying to get what is best for this class, what is best for where the chapter is. What are the skills and gifts that we're trying to develop in these candidates, because this is what the chapter needs for the long term. And that's really important, and you should not feel like what we've done in the past is the destiny of how it must always be done. Specifically when it comes to membership education, it's what do these people need is what should be done.
Absolutely. And so we talked a little bit about discussion questions, use them, don't use them, pick the ones you like. Same thing with membership candidate responses. In the book there's also these lesson reviews. And so these lesson reviews kind of pick out the most important information from the lesson. And so these can be used in a variety of ways too. They can be used kind of like an exit ticket at the end of the lesson to see, hey, did you get the things that I taught you today? It can be assigned as a homework to bring back because we're going to discuss it at the beginning of the next lesson. Maybe it's, okay, you're going to do your lesson 1 review and you're going to work with a brother that's not your big brother in the chapter. And so it's an opportunity to bond and get information from another brother. Or maybe you're about to teach lesson 3 and you have lesson 2's information, and that's how you're going to open the lesson. Hey guys, we're going to go through this lesson review. What did we learn last time? Just make sure that everybody's on the same page before we go into the next lesson. So that's just another tool for you to be able to customize and use the way that you want to make sure that brothers are learning the information.
Perfect. Wow, that's a lot of information, incredibly helpful. So I think that's going to be terrific. So thank you guys for answering that question. That's really going to help a lot of people out, I think. If you guys have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us, curriculum@kkpsi.org. We'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. Thanks so much.